Wow, stories.
Am I the idiot for dumping my boyfriend after he kept bringing up my chest size? I've 19-year-old female, been with my boyfriend, 18-year-old male, for over a year. Early this year, he told me out of the blue on call that he wished my breasts were bigger. I'm a 32 AA/28B. It really hurt me, and I cried all night afterward. I told him about how I felt the next day, and he was very apologetic. Prior to this incident, he had always kind of been insinuating that he wished they were bigger. He just never directly told me. I would pick up on it, though, and chipped away at my self-esteem. Before our relationship, I was very proud of my small chest. Now I feel very ashamed and like I'm not a woman. It's been months since his comment, and I still think about him wishing my body were different every day. He's still apologetic and told me he doesn't want me to change myself, and it was silly to have thought that, but I asked him today how much he preferred bigger breasts over my body, and he said he slightly prefers them over mine. He likes mine, but he just prefers bigger breasts. That's fine. Everyone has preferences. But I want to be my partner's number one, the body type they prefer the most. It unalives me, knowing he's my number one, but I'm not his. Yes, it's nice that he's not being shallow and is choosing personality over looks, but I don't want to be someone's compromise. I am demisexual, and I love everything about my boyfriend. His personality, his quirks, his interests, his face, and his body. I've always wanted a relationship where we're both obsessed with each other, where we put each other on a pedestal, not in the unhealthy way, and practically worship each other again, not in an unhealthy way. I don't want to be someone's compromise. It makes participating in sexy time incredibly difficult. When he initiates intimacy, I feel kind of nauseous, sick, and like there's a weight on my chest, har, knowing he wished my breasts were bigger, plus knowing he prefers bigger breasts over mine. Any advice or thoughts would be very appreciated. I ask that people not comment a simple, just break up, as I would rather not, and instead would like to know how to move past this. I apologize if this post doesn't fit the sub. Edit. Please no more DMs. No one was respecting my request for no non-constructive DMs. I am monogamous. Thank you. Edit 2. Here's some clarification that I previously made in comments to people, but they seem to be buried now. My boyfriend told me he wished my breasts were bigger because he was conflicted guilty over feeling that way. And he believes in the importance of communication in relationships. He realizes now that it was a mistake to have ever told me that, and it should have stayed an inside thought. The issue is that the comment still haunts me daily, and his current stance on preferring bigger-chested women slightly over me makes me sad. We communicate about this conflict regularly, with me telling him my feelings and him getting sad about it, which I don't want. And our conversations always end in him saying, "What should I do?" and me saying, "I don't know." My self-esteem being chipped away before the comment was because he'd insinuate that he wished they were bigger, but I never really addressed it until the day after his most impactful comment. Things he'd playfully say before, "Do you think your breasts will get bigger when you get pregnant?" And, "Oh, if you get fat, does that mean your breasts will grow too? Maybe I should start feeding you more LOL." He's not manipulative, just dense sometimes. He hasn't made any more comments since. I'm the one who has trouble moving past it. People have been commenting, "Just move on." The main purpose of this post was to ask how I can effectively move on, or what we should do as a couple. Thank you for all the well-meaning advice and thoughts. Please no more just break up comments or comments suggesting surgery or pills to change my body, though. And no, he said he wouldn't care if I told him that I wished his weenie were bigger. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Look, I am small-chested and it has been a struggle my whole life. It is actually me that judges me. I am 47 years old. I have had many boyfriends, but I will tell you not one has said anything about my chest. I am sorry he said what he said. I know you do not want to break up, but it is now unhealthy for you to stay. He needs to see that the damage has been done. He has to take accountability for what he said in hopes that he realizes and understands how words can hurt. And maybe he won't, but that is not for you to fix. Please think about your mental health now. You are young and you will find the right one that loves everything about you. Comment 2. There's no reason to say anything about this unless he wants to hurt you or get you to get surgery. Don't. Get a better boyfriend who, A, knows better than to say hurtful things about their girlfriend's body. B, is absolutely fine with it, or C, especially appreciates small breasts and even favors them. There are men out there who are one or more of those things. You can't fault someone for their body preferences, but you can fault them for being a cruel shoothead about them. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, things went from bad to worse. Remember how I said my boyfriend was apologetic about his comments on my body? Well, he decided to throw a surprise party for me to make up for everything. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. He invited all our friends, and somehow, the topic of body image came up. One of our friends, who had too much to drink, blurted out that my boyfriend had been discussing my chest size with him, in front of everyone. I was mortified. The room went silent. I could feel every eye on me, waiting for my reaction. I wanted to disappear. My boyfriend tried to explain, but what could he say? That he hadn't meant for it to come out? That it was just guy talk? It didn't matter. The damage was done. I left the party early and he didn't stop me. The next day, he showed up at my place with flowers and apologies, but I couldn't even look at him. I told him we needed a break. He didn't argue, and just nodded and left. I felt a mix of relief and dread. Was this the beginning of the end? But then, things took an unexpected turn. His mom called me. She was always kind to me, and I couldn't just hang up on her. She told me she heard about the party and wanted to apologize on behalf of her son. She shared stories of her own insecurities and how she overcame them. It was comforting, but it also made me realize that this wasn't just about me and my boyfriend. It was about a pattern of behavior that he might have picked up from somewhere. It didn't excuse his actions, but it gave me a new perspective. I spent the next couple of days reflecting on everything. I realized that I didn't want to be with someone who made me feel less than. I deserved better. So, I made a decision. I called him and told him it was over. He tried to argue, to promise he'd change, but I was firm. I needed to stand up for myself. After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of calm. It was over. I was free from the constant worry and self-doubt. I could start to rebuild my self-esteem without his shadow looming over me. I started going to therapy, something I should have done a long time ago. It's been helping. I'm learning to love myself again, to see my worth. It's not easy, but I'm getting there, one day at a time. And as for my ex, well, I heard from a friend that he's been going to therapy too. Maybe he's finally realizing the impact of his words. I hope he learns from this, I really do. But that's his journey, not mine. I'm focused on moving forward, on healing,